and gentlemen, first I would like to thank the organizer, Professor Yendora, for the arrangement for this wonderful conference. And it is not easy to organize a conference like this. It is not easy. I know organizing conference involves a lot of work. And we are grateful to Professor Yendora for such a great organization. Okay, the title of my paper is on the identity of self, but I'm going to present this identity of self from a totally different perspective than what many of you have presented. I'm going to go towards the east. Okay, but we have in the Eastern traditions, there is also another philosophical school of thought that is called the Vedic. And Vedic, predominantly we look into the Indian in nature, but I won't say it's just Indian. It can be applied in a global context as well, universal context as well. And of course, there is also another philosophy that you can look into related to the self from the Chinese perspective, especially looking into the Confucianism, also Taoism. Okay, we don't have any speakers here presented related to Confucianism or Taoism. Okay, my name again Balakrishnan, and I'm coming from a totally different field. My field is human resource management, human resource development, employment law, and industrial relations. Okay, but I have a deep interest in studying philosophy, especially Vedic philosophy, Chinese philosophy, and also a bit on the Western philosophy. So my presentation, I want to try to be a bit more interactive. If you have questions, if our chair gives the permission, you can even ask during the session. If you want to stop me and ask during the sessions, I'm happy to clarify anything. Okay. Sorry. It's on fire. Okay. So the starting point here is that it's a philosophy. Back to a philosophy of inquiry. Just like presenter earlier have said, Socrates, an unexamined life is not worth living. Okay, unexamined life. And in the Vedantic or Vedic tradition, there is also something on the inquiry. In the Sanskrit, they call Atato Brahma Jigyasha, which means now is the time to inquire about who you are, where do you come from, where are we going, something like that. So the first is that we have to discover what is our real identity. When we say identity, for example, if I ask you a question, who you are, what would be your answer? You can attempt. What will be your answer? Who you are? Okay, broadly people will say, okay, my name is this, I'm that, I'm coming from this country, okay, but is that all about our identity? So we are only looking at the physical level. We are not going deeper and deeper into exploring our real identity or our real self. And looking into the identity, people in this world, we have different schools of thought and we have different belief system. B stands for belief system. Each and every one of us have a different belief system. We have different attitude, abilities, different value system, different values, different experiences. Religion is also about experiences. Religion is also about belief that individual has. Okay? And we also have different motivation, perception, personality. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that your world, my world can be different. Okay, each and every one of you believe in a different mental world. Physically, we are all here, physically. But we have in a different world because of our BAVEMP, beliefs, attitudes, values, experiences, expectations, motivations, perceptions, personality, and so on. And that also takes us to the metaphor, understanding what is right, what is truth. Something like a story is taken from the Vedic literature in one of the Upanishad, is about how 6 blind men will try to describe what is an elephant. So each and every one of them will say, oh, elephant is like this, like that, because they are not able to see the bigger picture. So we are, every one of us, including me, because I'm speaking from one tradition, and each and every one of you have a different tradition, we all speak or we all say things from our own perspective, our own belief system, and our own experiences. And that also takes us to this another analogy where about the frog in a well. The frog in a well will say that the entire world is in the well. And if another frog from another, like an ocean, coming from an ocean, Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean, comes inside the well, the frog will ask question, where you are coming from? If the other frog will answer, he will say that I'm coming from Atlantic Ocean. And then the frog will start the question, how big is the Atlantic Ocean? Is it 2 times as bigger than this well, 3 times, 4 times? Sometimes it's important for us to open things, to see the world, things in a much broader perspective. Okay, that takes us to the objective of the session. That's just a brief introduction. I'm going into the objective. Now, objective of this presentation, number 1 is to describe the identity of self. Okay, again, the definition of self here, it varies. In the Vedic traditions, I'm using the term Atman. It's called Atman. It can also mean soul. Okay. Second is to discuss the existing gap in the identity of self. I think I don't need the mic. Okay, the voice is loud enough. Okay. Okay, to discuss the existing gap in the identity of self, related studies from non-Western psycho-philosophical perspective. Okay, and the third one is to provide a base for comparative studies in the identity of self between the West and the East. So in the East, predominantly I'm looking at the Vedic perspective. Okay, methodology, I don't want to go in that because of the limited time. Okay, just to tell you that when I say Vedic perspective, it is based on certain collection of books, on literatures. And the Vedic literatures there are 2 main categorization of the Vedic literatures. One is called, what is mentioned here in Sanskrit is called Shruti. Shruti means what is being heard, what has been heard. And then the other one is Smriti. Smriti means what is being remembered. Okay, so whenever there is a conflict between a Shruti and Smriti, the Shruti always prevails. It's just like you have in Islamic traditions, you have the Quran and the Hadith. Okay, when there is a conflict between Quran and Hadith, which one? The Quran is always the main reference. Okay, psychological and philosophical inquiry into self and of self and its identity. You have seen there a lot of growth in recent years, and this growth is due to the interest in cultural psychology and transpersonal psychology and also philosophy. And when you look into self from a psychological context, we look into a certain areas of studies. Sorry. In the psychology, the self is the qualities, the belief, personality, looks or expression that makes an individual. It relates to the image, individual image. Okay, like when you do studies about individual, like personality. Personality itself, there are many variables to study. Personality is like, for example, locus of control, self-esteem, self-efficacy. There are so many areas to look into within that. Now, looking into the Vedic psychology and philosophy, or I call psychophilosophy, looks at self something beyond the personality and beyond the mind, the intellect and ego, and it goes deeper in exploring the self within each and every one of us. That is called the Atman. And looking further into this from the Vedic psycho-philosophical perspective, the Vedic context or Vedic philosophy says that we have three bodies. First is the physical body. This is a physical body. Each and every one of us have a physical body here. The physical body consists of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Then we have subtle body. Subtle body consists of our mind, intellect, and ego. And then you have another body that is called the causal body, which is the vehicle of consciousness. And within this body is what we have the real self, that is us, that is the Atman, or even the soul. And all these bodies exist simultaneously, but our recognition of them varies depending on our state of awakening. Okay, now when we look at our state of awakening, what are the states of awakening that we have? According to one of the Upanishads that is called Mandukya Upanishad, there are 4 states of what we call awakening. First is what we call waking state. Every one of us at this moment we are in the waking state. We are aware physically where we are. But there is another state. Let's say, okay, when you get tired after the conference, you go to sleep. When you sleep, you go into another state. Okay, another state is that you go into a dreaming state. So the dreaming state is a state where your physical body will be lying on the bed, but your subtle body will be moving around many places. Then you have another state that is a deep sleep. And the deep sleep state is a state that we all experience, but we are not aware about that. And beyond this deep sleep state, you have another state of the self state, the Atman state. And not many people go into this exploration. Even me, I'm just describing you from the text that I have learned. But it is possible when people go through a self-exploration, like a meditation, they go within, like a enlightenment obtained by Buddha is through going further, deeper reflection about the self, where he moves into the Turiya state, or what we call the Samadhi, which is the Atman state. Okay, now this state of the body, I described to you about the 3 different bodies. I use the analogy of a chariot. This is taken from one of the Upanishad called Katha Upanishad. I'm sure you know, right? Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad is a Upanishad where you have a dialogue between a small boy called Nachiketa with Yama. Yama is in the Indian tradition is called a Lord of Death, Yama. So there was a lot of question and answers. So one of the things that I would like to quote from the Katha Upanishad is that there is a saying that the body of ours is like a chariot with 5 horses, and each of the 5 horses represents our 5 senses. 5 senses means senses of seeing, senses of hearing, senses of touching. These are our senses. And then you have that the driving instrument, that is a ring, represents our mind. We call the mana, the mind. And then the driver, the one who is driving, is our intelligence. And the Atman, or the real self within us, is a passenger. So it says that if you want to direct yourself, you need to make sure you use your intelligence to manage the mind. If you are not able to manage your mind, what happens is that the horses will take you into different directions. So that is why this is one analogy where you look into the self in the 3 levels of body, looking into the physical body, subtle body, and the causal body. Now looking at the Vedic, how long do I have? How long do I have the session? Another 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Now the Vedic theory of self, it says that the self or the Atman is something eternal, nitya, and it is full of knowledge and free from bondage. And it further states in one of the Upanishads, it states that although the body dies, but the self doesn't die. That self within, it is only body that is perishable. I want to go further, okay? There are some research people nowadays doing about souls, but there are no clear, what they call scientific evidence regarding that, but there are ongoing people, but it is not something that is easily researchable. Yeah. What are the methodology, how they are going to do, this is something beyond the human conception or comprehension. And the Vedic perspective, if you look into, says that that self which is within, the Atman actually goes through a transmigration. If you look into, this is like something like a transmigration that, okay, it transmigrates from a body to another body. It can be any body, because there is a Purana, okay, you might know the Purana is called Padma Purana, mentions there are 8,400,000 species of living beings where it goes through a transmigration. Okay, transmigration. Okay, for example, if I quote, maybe in the Sanskrit term, there is a saying that Dehinos mim yatha dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dirashtatra namujati. This is in Sanskrit, which means that as the body passes through a period of childhood to adulthood, that soul within also passes from one body to another body. This is one area where they talk about the transmigrations, which relates again to the concept of reincarnation. Again, back to the studies, we don't have what they call scientifically, but there are some stories about reincarnation. If you do a search, you definitely will be able to find many stories about it, reincarnation. So there are characteristics of self from the Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to go through detail, reading through all these what they call the verses, but just want to say that that self which is within the body is not slain when the body is slain. It is not. It is something called indestructible. It is indestructible. And furthermore, further information about the self, it says that the self is neither born, nor does it die, nor having once existed, does it ever cease to be. The self is without birth, eternal, immortal, and ageless. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. And it further says that no weapons can kill the self. Sorry. The weapon can only kill the physical body, but not our subtle body and also the self which is within. Okay? And it further says that the self is unbreakable and it cannot be dampened or dried. It's everlasting in all places, unalterable, immutable, and primordial. And furthermore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it also says that the Bhagavad Gita actually is a dialogue that takes place between a warrior prince called Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna is considered to be an incarnation, like a god himself who came in a human form. Any of you who have who teaches Eastern philosophy or the Vedic traditions in your universities, you might come across a literature called Mahabharata. Any of you heard about Mahabharata? Okay, you have the two. One is Ramayana and Mahabharata. And these two literatures has been translated into many languages in the world. I'm not sure if you have it in your own language as well, Ramayana and Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is a story about the war between two cousins. So they are called the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And the warrior prince Arjuna, before the commencement of the war, he was very excited to fight the war. But when he saw his own grandfather, teachers assembled the other side, he felt that he felt demotivated. So to motivate the prince, Arjuna, the Krishna embarked on various motivational sermons, and that's what we call the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and in the Bhagavad Gita again, he says that those who are seers of truth, okay, have concluded that the non-existent end of the eternal, that is the soul or the self, there is no change, And this they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Nature of both means the matter and spirit. The nature of matter and nature of spirit. Okay, that's about self-identity. But in the Vedic traditions, there is also another self. You have two selves. One is called the individual self, and the other one is called the supreme self. So the supreme self is also within heart of each and every living being. So we have, I mentioned to you earlier about the term, it's just the Atman, and the Atman in this context here I use Jivatma. But there is also another type of Atman that is called Paramatma. Paramatma is like the supreme self, and the supreme self is considered to be like a god, or they use a term called Brahman. And some of you might be familiar with the term Brahman. And there are also many theories about the connections, the relationship between the individual self and also the supreme self. Okay, I will just brief. It's not within the scope of these presentations to explore and to give the meanings to those theories, but I will just introduce to you some theories later on. And the Paramatma, or the supreme self, is stated to be in the heart of every living being. Every living being means, when we say every living beings, not only human beings, but also animals, plants. That means with all the living beings, there is a super soul within. And that super soul is like a soul or super soul. You have soul, individual soul, and within that you also have the super soul. And the Vedic context, if you look at, the Bhagavad Gita says, who is somebody who is knowledge? They use the word Pandit, Pandita, or you call Pandita people who are in knowledge, is that person who sees equal vision of all the living beings. Whether it is an elephant, whether it's a cow, a dog, or a learned person, he or she will see an equal vision of every living being. So when you see an equal vision means you are not seeing from the bodily context, outer layers, that is the physical body, that consists of earth, water, fire, and ether, but we are looking into the self which is within the body.
You also use this term for priest, Pandit.
Pandit, yes. In the Indian context, priest can be Pandit. They also call pujaris in a different way, different perspective we are looking into. Pandit in North India, they use mostly Pandits. Now looking into the theories, the three theories, I'm not going to go deeper into this, but just to introduce, one is called the Advaitic theory. Advaitic theory is a theory that says that individual soul and the super soul are one. Both are one, are connected. It's, in contrast, you have the Dvaitic theory says that the individual soul and the supreme soul are not one. Supreme soul is, you cannot be one. Okay, there are a lot of debates. People go through philosophical debates, especially in the Vedantic philosophy. They go into these three theories, looking into identity of the self and also the super self. But let me go into the final part before going into the conclusion. Do I have time? Okay, final. It's just going to take maybe 2-3 minutes. Okay, what is the significance of knowing the self? Many times we think and we feel at the surface level, at the physical level. Physical level means we are only thinking from the bodily context. We don't really feel or think that we are not the body. The body can be, anytime it can be perishable. It is not permanent. Okay? So when we start to think from the perspective of the self which is within us and the self which is within the heart of all the living being, what will happen is that we would be able to, with the knowledge, differentiate between the bodies and differentiate between the self and the matter. And we will be able to know that the body is something that is perishable. But what is more important is a self which is within the body. Number two is that we could attain what we call spiritual wisdom, not religious. When I say spiritual and religion can be different. Of course, some people have different views and ideas about spirituality and also religion. For me, I look at religion is something that gives you have to do this, you have to do that, you go through various regulations, and then the religions I look at in the world today tends to divide people. This is the way, that is the way, you don't do this, you cannot, that is wrong, this is wrong. But when you look into from a spiritual wisdom, that body, that self within you has no such thing as religion. The self, the real self, the Atman has no such religion. The religion only when you are looking from the bodily context. Okay, like for example, you are here in Romania, you are born in Romania, you tend to say that, oh, I am a Romanian, I follow this and like that. And like for example, I am coming from Malaysia, I always feel, oh, I am a Malaysian, okay, I am born in the state of Kedah, and I have this is that. So we are looking from a bodily context. But for that soul, the Atma has no such identification. So we will attain and peace within. Peace within. No external war. When you know there is a peace within you, when we know there is the same Atman that prevails in the heart of all the living beings, why do we need war? Why do we need to have a conflict? Why is there a possibility of a conflict in the world, war in the world? Why? Because the reason is that we are living more at the physical level rather than the subtle or even the Atmic context. Okay, and we will be able to distinguish between what is real, what is unreal. The real is a self within, the unreal is the what they call the body. And the last part is that we might overcome the delusion we call it Maya, delusion, and we focus on our journey. Everybody goes through a journey in life. Everybody goes through a journey towards what they call the liberation. And the liberations can be meant in a different context. If you are looking into the Buddhist context, we talk about nirvana. You can in the Vedic context, they can talk about the moksha, so ultimate liberation. So these are the three things that when we start to dwell within us, more and more we contemplate, more and more we reflect within ourselves, we go deeper and deeper to analyze. Like for example, you ask questions: who am I? Am I the body? Am I the eyes? Am I the ear? Which part of the body I am in? You go and deeper start to contemplate. You will go slowly moving towards what is called enlightenment, or like what Buddha have achieved, that is called the enlightenment. Okay, time, all right, okay. That's completed my session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Muniapan, for this insightful introduction to the Vedic spirituality. We have time only for 2 questions because one of our horses wants to eat.
In which way incineration serves reincarnation? In which way incineration serves reincarnation?
Okay, the reincarnation of I think the reincarnation is dependent on the activities of the soul when the soul is in a particular body, especially human body, when you are looking into human body. Because in an animal body, they will not be able to think. But in a human body, you have the faculty to think. That is why in the Vedic tradition, they say human life is very precious and very rare. Out of 8,400,000 species, when one is born as a human, you have the capability to think. So it is based on what is called, like in a Buddhist context, you have karma. So karma means not only our action, but also our thoughts, okay, and also our words, also karma. All have a karmic reaction. And the karmic reaction is that which actually, whatever happens to us, we are the architect of our destiny. That means if anything wrong, anything bad that happens to me, I cannot blame, I should not blame anybody else, but it is all my own doing. Because that past reaction comes back to me. Like even in the Buddhist context, Buddha have said that where we are today is based on what or where we have been in the past. And where we are going to be tomorrow is going to be based on what are we going to do today. Okay, so there is a sloka in Mahabharata. I just want to narrate. There is a statement by Bhishma to Yudhishthira when he questions something related to karma. It's in Sanskrit. It says, Yada denu sahasresu vastu vindati mataram tada purva krutam karma kartaram anugachiti. Meaning is that out of thousands of cows, the cow will be able to find its mother, even among thousands of cows. Similarly, whatever action one have done in the past, the reaction of that action will find the doer.
Why do you prefer to burn the body and not bury it?
Okay, that is a different area altogether.
That's my question.
The burn the body. Okay, that is a different area altogether because it depends on the schools of thought.
For reincarnation, to burn the body and not bury it.
Okay, there is a reasons for that because when the
fire is
soul
sacred, okay, this is
when the soul moves out of the body with the karma sharira, with the consciousness, the attachment towards the body is still strong.
okay.
So
you have to
yes, you have to destroy because that attachment, that body is lifeless. That is the physical body is lifeless. You cannot go back. You will try to enter the body, but you will not be able to enter the body because of the strong attachment towards the body. To detach the soul and the what you call the karma sharira. There are some tradition in the Indian traditions. They burn. They what do you call cremates. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We have the consciousness of the earlier self.
Okay.
Like any remembrance.
Yes.
Yes.
In a Vedic tradition, there is a term they call Jatishmara. Jatishmara means somebody who can remember the past birth, past. Okay. If you do a research, yeah, there is a statement in the Puranas and also in one Purana called Garuda Purana. And there is also a statement in a Purana that is called Bhagavata Purana. That's Bhagavata Purana. There is a dialogue between Kapila Muni, sage Kapila, and his mother Devahuti, where transmigration is explained. And it says that when the soul is within the womb, okay, it is able to recall many births, many births, and it will promise itself that in this birth I will not do it again. I will be able to attain liberation. But the moment it's is born, then the delusion, or what we call Maya, started to overpower the soul. So then it will go through again another cycle of life cycle. It goes through. But there are what we call rare cases where people were able to recall their past life, and this, if you do some search about reincarnations, you will find that there are many instances, many stories where people who have who are at a certain age, they are able to recall where they were in their previous life, and then they did the search and everything. It tends to be very accurate. They can able to identify which street, which area, who they are, everybody, even though they have not met. It is possible, but very rare circumstances, it might apply, it might happen.
Any legal claims, for instance, like
A legal claims so far I have not come across any related to legal claims, but there are some incidences, some cases related to that.
Thank you very much.
No any freedom.
Freedom, yes.
No any freedom.
Individual have a free will. That is, doesn't mean that you are destiny. That is a concept of destiny and free will. Okay, to some extent, what is happening to us is based on whatever actions that we have done. But I won't say the percentage. There are some people, philosophers looks into percentage where he says that 65% is the past and then 25% you determine. But mostly now, from now onwards, we determine. We determine where we want to go. That means that's why I said earlier, every human beings are architect of their own destiny. Destiny means looking to where we are now, where we want to go, and all that.